What's up, guys? This is Adi from Tilos International, and we are here for the first scouting report, the first deep dive of the summer. Really exciting stuff. We're going to be talking about Remy Cabella. He is going to be the first edition, veteran edition, with some Champions League experience that we are going to be adding to this team this summer as Olympiacos looks to build for the biggest club competition in the world. And since this news first came out, there's been a lot of unhappy campers, people looking at his age and complaining that maybe he's not the right fit, not the right signing for Olympiacos. So what we're going to do, if this is your first deep dive, we're going to be investigating the claims, we're going to be investigating the player, and we're going to determine with what we see with the film that I've watched whether or not this player is a good fit. So let's get started. As everybody probably already knows, Remy Cabella is 35 years old. He's a right-footed attacking mid that can play left wing, that can play right wing. He's pretty short in terms of stature, 5'7" or 171 centimeters, and 68 kilogram, which is 149 pounds for the metric, and for the U.S. Measurement individuals, whatever you prefer. Now, as far as his profile with the ball with the ball at his feet, it's been reported in Greece that he's supposed to be a Valbuena 2.0. So if you've been paying attention to Greek media, they're saying, oh, this is the new Valbuena. My co-host Martial lent you some of his own insights into what he saw. And he saw a bigger similarity to Kevin Miralas than Valbuena. And I'm inclined to agree with Martial here. If we look at the way he carries the ball, Valbuena had a lower center of gravity, stop-start possession frequently. It was different. Remy is a little more vertical, and while he has a solid amount of flair, he doesn't change direction like Valbuena. He doesn't stop the ball as often. He dribbles at people. He can dribble by people, use of step-overs. And while he does have a nice center of gravity, it's just not how Valbuena was. You could not dispossess Valbuena. He carried the ball so much different. So while I do understand in that respect, or I should say, I do understand why media were saying he's Valbuena 2.0. It doesn't have as much to do with how he carries the ball or his profile as a player. So let's get started. We're going to talk about some goal creation. So I have up here a chart. This is, you guys have seen a variation of this on social media that we put. This is a little bit more in depth with various statistics and where he ranks as a percentile in France. Amongst other attacking mids and wingers. Now, you can see in the bottom, that's the goal creation area. Remy Cabella has not scored a ton of goals in recent years. And the ones he has scored, if they have not come from penalties, they're usually right in front of goal, kind of like, poacher goals in a way, or they're in and around the penalty area. They almost never come from distance, usually off of second balls, if not directly from crosses. He has not been a huge threat despite a solid number of shots that he gets per match. While he doesn't score goals from distance, he does get a lot of shots from like wider opportunities and sometimes in more distant positions. And it explains probably why he has, an average expected goals per 90 despite having a large number of volume of shots. So he's the shot quality, or sorry, I shouldn't say shot quality. The opportunity, the dangerous opportunities that he gets, they're not as dangerous maybe as you would think. So while he does get a lot of shots, they're not always from dangerous positions. The shots that he does get from distance, they're floaters, more likely to kill a bird than probably get their way into the back of the net. They lack a little bit of power, we can say. Kind of reminds me, not as bad, of course, of Daniel Pudence when he was first here, but, he, despite the fact that he has some pretty decent finesse with the shots, they don't have a lot of great power. So my overall take regarding his goal creation from what I've seen and from the data together, especially considering, what we saw from this past season from Olympiacos, is that I'm encouraged by the type of shot volume he gets by crashing into the penalty area and winning some of these rebounds, because we didn't have a lot of that at Olympiacos. We sorely lacked in this area, getting bodies in the box and finding ways to capitalize on some of these second opportunities. So a player like this with these tendencies should help make up for a lot of these missed opportunities that we saw during the season for Olympiacos. Assuming Valde leaves, is this guy going to be at least an upgrade over what we had on the bench? And of the wingers departing, Christopher Veld is really the only one with a good sample for me to look at. He's got over 1,000 minutes in the Greek league, unlike Luis Palma, who's only played a few minutes here and there. Even Willian didn't really have that many minutes for me to look at. So the other reason I wanted to look at it too is because Christopher Veld and Remy Cabella are polar opposites in terms of their profiles. And you can see that here in the plot. Veld is much more direct, prefers to be an outlet with a need to look on goal and score himself. That's what he wants. He wants to get the ball, get on goal, and score. Cabella, while he can score, is much more of a creator for his teammates to score goals than a goal scorer himself. He can be an outlet on the wing, but as we can see by his touch volume, he's much more competent than Veld is getting the ball and moving possession forward. Veld gets half of the touches that Cabella does, and he plays for Olympiacos. Olympiacos gets way more possession, is a possession leader in the league versus Lille, which is not. So I expect Cabella could probably even see more touches when he's on the field for Olympiacos. So this tells you everything. The fact that Cabella does what he does for Lille and he's more integral in possession than Veld could ever be for us. As far as my verdict goes for the first transfer of the summer, I'll start by saying I'm not going to share too much in the panic that I've been seeing already about this transfer when he was first announced, or the rumor was first announced both by Sport 24 as well as L'Equipe in France. Yes, Cabella's 35 years old. The last 30-plus-year-old players that we signed didn't do so well for us. The difference, though, with Cabella and a player like Willian, who's one that keeps coming up in conversation, is that we're not paying $4 million for this wage. Willian was the highest paid player while he was here on a weekly basis. Cabella's going to be making under $1 million. He was making $700K at Lille. Even if we're paying him a little bit more, maybe $800K, that's not that big of a deal.
Enjoyed that scouting preview? That's just a taste of what we offer on our Patreon. By joining, you'll unlock exclusive in-depth breakdowns, insider analysis on all Olympiacos signings, tactical deep dives, and early access to our best content. Support 307 International and become part of our inner circle today. Click the link in the description below and let's take your fan experience to the next level.